We're now joined live in the studio by Venant Ndigila. He's the manager for disaster management at the Kenya Red Cross. Welcome to the program. The pictures we're seeing out there, oh my goodness, that's terrible. Paint a picture for us real quick.
Yes, according to the prediction, it's only the beginning because it's likely going to continue up to sometimes in January in some parts of the country. Mostly northeastern Kenya, eastern and some parts of coast and upper or rather north rift. This is where we expect enhanced rains, and the effects are mostly more severe in those areas because ordinarily they don't receive much rains anyway. Right. So the coping mechanisms are low. So this is where they're more exposed, and this is where we're also concentrating most of our efforts, of which so far we have recorded at least over 15,000 households displaced, and where they'll now need immediately emergency support in terms of shelter, health services, water, food, and most importantly, hygiene and sanitation support. Yeah. So we are really working with the county governments and again with the national government also to try and respond to the needs as they emerge. Most importantly, we have set up a line for reporting, 1199, for anybody to report any incident, any effect around or rather related to the floods, and then we can see how we can channel. I also want to add that this time we have seen more and more villages being marooned or being cut off from the rest of the world. Therefore, they'll need support, and we are planning our final aerial assessment tomorrow, which is going to go to northeastern and also another route to Tana River, to try and identify finally the villages which need some aerial support. Then we can channel any aerial relief drops as much as we can.
If you're to map out the country right now, you said these rains will extend, of course, to January. Which are the highest risk areas?
Mostly northeastern counties, and then upper eastern counties of Marsabit, Samburu, and Isiolo. And then also eastern counties, Meru, and a little bit of Kitui. And then we go south, southeast. This is the coastal counties of Lamu, Kwale, Kilifi, and a little bit of Taita Taveta.
If someone was to ask you your biggest need right now, what would it be? Is it foodstuffs? Is it medical? What is it?
The biggest need now is to prepare and respond to the shelter, emergency shelter needs of those who are displaced. Now, once a family is displaced after the shelter, immediately then the other needs come, of course, food, and then most importantly, water, and then, of course, health. After 1 to 2 weeks, we start having needs around health. So, but the main key ones is emergency shelter, water, which means providing clean water or rather purifying water, and then health support in terms of preventive. Yeah, preventive like preventing mosquito and waterborne related diseases, and then promoting hygiene and sanitation, again to try and prevent water-related infections. But it's unfortunate that in many parts of the country, of the affected areas, we are doing rescue, rescue of families who have remained in the risk areas until the waters catch up with them. Some areas we are succeeding to do preemptive evacuation where the communities are agreeing, like Garissa. Today we moved around 20 families who agreed to move from the area because we thought they are very exposed, they are likely going to be marooned or worse still being washed off. So these are some of the needs which we need now, and we have put the platforms, we have prepared platforms in each sub-county where we mapped and thought that they are at high risk of these floods. And these platforms include teams which are ready to receive any relief, but very importantly coordinate all the actors of humanitarian activities in those areas so that we can reach to the most affected and also the most vulnerable families.
Right now we're talking about disaster management, but probably even more important is disaster preparedness. You talked about some people staying in the situation until it becomes dire. What are the early warning signs looking like in terms of what the Red Cross has done in the past to ensure communities get ahead?
Yeah, mostly was targeted information around the community at risk, which we are doing risk communication in terms of sensitizing them on the risks of floods, but also the other related effects around health and how to be able to reduce the risk or rather reduce the exposure. And this is mostly by, again, maybe moving away to safer or higher grounds. So that by the time the waters are coming, then they are not found there. I want to say that we did some study of comparing the effects of the October, November, December rains in 2018. And then in 2019, in the preparedness, we did a lot of that information. For example, we released some 20 million SMSs across the high-risk areas, especially in Tana River. That year, in 2019, and also 2020, there was a significantly reduced number of those people who were caught in those areas or who were marooned or they were caught in the floods. For example, it moved from 9,000 families at the onset to around 4,000. So there is a lot of improvement, and those are some of the preparedness activities which we put in place.
Back in September, the weathermen predicted El Nino, right?
Yes.
And like Vicky said, disaster preparedness was put in place. Then the president came out and downplayed the whole issue, saying there will be no El Nino. Mm-hmm. So what is happening here?
Now, the October, November, December is our short rains in this country, and at least most of the parts of East Africa. We know this. This is one of the major 2 seasons of rains we have in the country. This time, we are told that it's going to have enhanced rains. Whether from what phenomena and what? Yes, here it is. We are seeing enhanced rains. Northeastern, it doesn't receive more than 10 millimeters of rain. Now we are seeing 70, 100, Mandera up to almost 200 millimeters. So this is neither here nor there. I think we don't want to spend time trying to debate whether the phenomena is there or not, but the effects are here. And the effects are really impacting the most vulnerable families in those areas. This is what we need to concentrate on now.
But is it El Nino?
I'm not able to say whether it is El Nino or not, but the season of the short rains is the one which is here with enhanced rains.
Well, I guess that's for the weathermen to let us know.
Sure.
But yeah, we'll be monitoring that for sure.
Absolutely. One more question before we let you go. Do you have enough personnel on the ground? Or would you like, let's say, enhanced NYS or other supplementary folks to come and help?
These personnel, Jeff, on ground, they are required to be trained with some basic skills and knowledge on how to do emergency response on a humanitarian scale. So it is not just anybody. So currently we have mobilized some 200 staff, permanent staff, and over 6,000 volunteers who are trained with the basic skills. And we mapped them in those high-risk areas. So we have the initial required staff to be able to initiate the interventions. However, we are open and ready to coordinate with other equally skilled or capable staff who can join us, and we coordinate the effort.
I wish you all the best of luck.
Certainly.
I know it's not going to end anytime soon.
Thank you for coming.
Sure. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Venant Ndikila, he's the manager for disaster management at the Kenya Red Cross.